Hi, Angie. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday, and I hope you had a great week. I'm so excited to finally get your reading video to you. I know you've been patiently waiting, so I want to thank you so much for being so patient with me. I sold so many readings over my birthday, and it's been crazy because not only was it my birthday, and we just had stuff going on for that, then Thanksgiving, and then I actually just got a new job, so I had to fly out to LA last minute this week. So it's been a little crazy around here, but I am so happy to finally dig into your chart, which I actually did a few days ago, and I was like dying to get this video together just because your chart is so interesting to me. And I guess too, before I even, dig all the way in, I want to say, I want to introduce myself. I'm Leah. So nice to meet you. And I would love to meet you in person or hear more about your life. So maybe we can follow along with each other online. But I feel like after I do readings with people, I'm like, I know them now and like I'm a part of their life and I understand their energy. So now we have to be friends. But anyway, I hope you're having a great day, and I hope that this is coming to you at the best moment where you need it. And I always do feel like human design does come to us, at the perfect time when we're not even expecting it. So, I guess you are expecting it, but I mean, it just comes at the perfect moment. Like, it's divine timing when human design enters someone's life. And I truly, full-heartedly believe in that. So let me just triple check your birth time. I did put together a summary, but I have this fear of doing someone's chart and then their birth information being wrong, because this happened to me like a year ago. I was doing a reading and okay, we're good. May 18th, 1979. I did a reading for someone and then I sent it and she's like, you have my birth time wrong, and I have scarred me for life. So I ended up having to do a redo. Luckily she was a good friend of mine, so it was no big deal. But anyway, we're good. And let me just calculate your chart here on my little system that I like to use when I do my one-on-one readings. And then we will dive right in. So as I'm doing this, let me just give you a little bit of background on human design. And I don't know how far you are into your knowledge. I actually just added a section on my video readings where people can add a knowledge level. That way, because sometimes I like to give them history in human design, and I do sort of explain how it works as I do my readings. And I do that just because I'm a 5/1, which means I have an investigative line within my system. And so I'm always curious how things are put together. And so just that being a part of who I am, I'm constantly when I had my first human design reading, we ended up talking for almost 2 hours because I was asking so many questions on how certain things, were computed and what all these different things mean. And so now I just frame my readings that way because I find that if I don't, people will just end up asking questions anyway. So, okay, cool. I got your birth date in Minnesota. I went to college with tons of people who lived in Minnesota. I've actually never been though. I'm dying to get over there. I am currently located in Ohio. I'm moving to Los Angeles here at the beginning of the year. Not looking forward to that, but that is where I will be. So, I'm looking forward to being in the warm, but Los Angeles is just crazy. And so let me just give you the background. So human design is relatively new. It was started in 1987, and I don't mean started, it was really downloaded onto this man named Ra Aruhu. He was a guy that was, he's from Canada. He was on an 8-day meditation in Ibiza, Spain. During this meditation, he literally channeled a voice, or what he calls the divine, that was basically speaking to him and telling him why humans are here, what our purpose is, and or not necessarily our purpose, but kind of how all of these ancient modalities that people have followed for years and years, how they're actually all interconnected. So things like the chakra system, which you may, be aware of if you ever practice yoga, or astrology, which has been around for centuries, and the Kabbalah tree of life, and quantum physics, and the Chinese I Ching, the gene keys, genetics, all these things, sort of how are they all interconnected? And when they are connected, they make up this beautiful thing called human design. And we all have this energetic blueprint that basically explains to us how our energy works amongst all of us. Human design is not a belief system. Do not confuse it with like a religion or a cult of any sort, because I've been seeing stuff like that lately, and that's not what it is. It is merely an empirical scientific system. It's the science of differentiation, how all of us are different. Human design does not ask you to do literally anything other than to experiment with the information I'm going to tell you. And that still sounds so creepy, but it really just means that this is what your blueprint says, and this is how you can use your energy, and to just try it out. And if you love it, you love it. If you don't, then okay, so be it. I find that human design is one of the most transformative, amazing tools that there is out there. I have done every single personality test you can literally think of and name. I've done it. I have seen psychics, mediums, tarot readers, oracle readers. I have gone to every astrologer ever in my hometown. I have done it all. And for me, human design was like the most amazing tool in self-improvement that I ever found, and really helped me come home to myself and live a life of purpose. So I hope that you find the same. And so first and foremost, looking at your chart, you have like so much energy. Like I very rarely get to do charts where every single center is lit up. And what I mean by that is every single center, which are the shapes in your chart, they're colored in, and that means you have definition, defined energy in those places. So cool. You and I actually share a channel, and we also, you have a very cool chart, and I'm like dying to get to know you. I'll have to like ask you a couple questions when I send you the email, because there's just so much happening here that I'm like, wow. You're probably just a very amazing, very creative person. And so everyone has an energy type, and you may already know this. There are 5. So you can be a generator, a manifestor, a projector, a reflector, or a 5th type, which combines to is a manifesting generator. And that's actually what you are. And a manifesting generator is someone who is designed to create, forge, play in life. Manifesting generators are like the multi-hyphenate, multi-passionate people who are here to do and accomplish many diverse things. Now, it doesn't mean that no one else can, is as like, passionate or can't be curious about a lot of things. You just have more of that. So you may find yourself sometimes like jumping interests very quickly. So you may be interested in, actually, this is the example I basically give everyone, because this was just a really good one. I was doing a reading with someone, and she was telling me how she is really into like crafts, and she will get into knitting, and she ended up like spending so much money on all these knitting supplies, and then one day was like, I don't want to do that anymore, and then was into like embroidery. And it's just so true, because she was telling me how she had this craft closet that's just overflowing at this point, because she just finds interest in so many like random things, and she just like goes for it. And that's like kind of energetically correct for someone like you, who will find these things that they're interested in and kind of just go with it and flow with it. And then you might just drop it the next second. And that's energetically correct. You just are very curious. You have a lot of interest, a lot of ideas. And what's beautiful is that like the manifestor in you can come up with these great ideas, and the generator can make it happen. And when you're living your design, you're like a superhuman. And if you see me looking all over the place, I've got a screen here with your chart, and I've got a screen here with the summary that I wrote up for you. So I'm kind of like, and I might move them, so I'm just looking all over the place. So if you see me just like talking over to the side, that's what I'm doing. So the challenge though with that is that like sometimes you may feel caught between wanting to run out of the door and act on these impulses that you get, versus waiting for a signal from your gut to do the right thing. Now you do have emotional authority, which I'm going to get into in just a moment, but emotional authority probably does make you feel like even stronger impulses. But basically you also have a strong gut intuition, because you do have a sacral center defined. You have everything defined, but being a manifesting generator, you do have like a strong gut reaction, which is the life force energy. It's actually the red square. Actually, the one I'm sending you, it's going to be like a brown, but I just like that one. It's prettier. But basically, it's the second center from the bottom, and you have a 14, a 29, a 3 coming out of there. It's really important that as a generator, you reserve, or a manifesting generator, that you reserve the right to change your mind as you go through life. So we kind of just talked about this. It's important sometimes for you to tell the people in your life that, like, I might find interest in a lot of different things and I may change my mind very quickly, and you just have to deal with it. Like, sometimes people who don't understand how manifesting generators work, they don't get it. So it is important for you to sort of just like reserve that right. Maybe just like warn people that like for example, maybe as a kid, and this is just an example, you can use this analogy in any form, but you know, maybe it was like you signed up for a soccer team and then you got to practice and you're like, I just don't want to do this. It just doesn't feel right. And then you had to tell your parents, like, I don't want to do this anymore. And they were probably upset. And that would be a moment, I guess, now if your parents maybe knew human design, they'd be like, okay, like that's just a part of her design. You know, something of that nature, where that could have just been like who you were, and people just don't understand that. So it's important to kind of explain to people like, yeah, I don't know, I'm just not into this anymore. I really wanted to join soccer a month ago, and now that I'm here, it's just like not vibing with me at this moment anymore. And that's okay, because you move quicker than others. You're like, you have this ability to pivot faster than any other energy type. It's so cool. I'm so jealous. I'm a generator, and I'm like, I wish I was a manifesting generator, because I feel like things would just happen a lot quicker for me. But we do share, so human design, obviously we have our energy type, but then there's something called a strategy and authority, and that is going to be the most important thing in our design. And so what that means is that your strategy is sort of the thing that says how to interact with the universe, and then your authority is sort of like your intuition. It's a thing inside of you that you can kind of tune into while making decisions. And so I mentioned you have emotional authority, and the emotional authority means that, well, one, your solar plexus is defined, which if you look at your chart, you actually have the most energy going on there. It is the center up on the right-hand side. You have 37, 22, 49, and gate 30 all coming out of there. And 50% of the population has that defined, and 50% of the population does not. Actually, I think it's 51% has it defined and 49 doesn't, but about 50-50. And it means you're an emotional. So sometimes you may hear people say, I'm a 3-5 emotional manifesting generator. That would be like how you described your design to someone quickly. Or like for me, for example, I'm always like, I'm a 5-1 sacral or pure generator, in which people know that I'm not emotional, because emotional authority sort of takes precedent over the sacral. Long story short. So what this means is that you make decisions based on your emotions. And it's very, very, very important that you don't make decisions when you're emotionally high or emotionally low. You basically have this consistent emotional wave that is going on inside your system. And when you are at a high, you're feeling either really good or maybe even really angry, or you could be at a low, or you're just not feeling like, you want to be like, here's the wave. You want to be in the middle. Like, you want to be somewhere when you're making a decision that's sort of in that middle ground. So what I mean by that is, so for example, say you're buying a house and you're feeling like, maybe you're feeling really good about it, and that's a really good sign too, but maybe it's like, you know, so good that you're not being like too rational or anything. So you kind of want to make sure that you give yourself time to have very clear emotions. Maybe someone like upset you, and it could be in a relationship, and you're like, I'm so mad at my partner and I just want to end it all. And it's like, no, don't act on those emotions. Like, just give yourself a moment to just become emotionally clear, emotionally transparent, emotionally neutral, whatever that looks like for you. This could take 5 minutes. This could take 5 years. It could take, 2 hours. I don't know, whatever time that is for you to feel like, okay, I'm calm and I've processed how I'm feeling, and now I feel like I can move forward. And then when you get to that point, you move forward by using your strategy. And like I said, the strategy and authority, they're married together. They're in a marriage, the S and A. And now you can say, okay, how am I going to respond? Now it's not, you should not force, you should not, you don't have to wait. So projectors, their authority is to wait for a lunar cycle. Or sorry, that's a reflector. A projector is to, or wait for an invitation. I was like looking at the word reflector and like was thinking about a reflector while I said that. But so you have to just respond in the moment. And that's the generator strategy. That's actually based on your energy type. Manifesting generators and generators both have the strategy to respond. So it's, how can I respond right now that I know how I'm feeling? And a response can be something verbal, it could be an action, it could be a movement, it could be a feeling, it could just be like something that, like, however you're responding, a sound that you make, that is your response to the universe, okay? It's not, I don't need to wait for someone to invite me to give my opinion. I don't need to, I don't need to force things. I don't need to, I don't need to do anything other than just respond. It's also really important for generators, and since you do have generator as like a part of your energy type, A and B questions work really well. So binary questions like this or that. So sometimes it's really good for you to sort of have like something to respond to that's like, okay, I have these choices, and then emotionally, like, how am I feeling about these things? So that is going to be, like, honestly, like the most crucial part in human design. Everything else I'm going to tell you is just like things that you probably already know about yourself and need to be reminded of or reassured of. But that is going to be where you change. Human design is about deconditioning. How can I decondition from this life that, everyone has told me to be, whether, I grew up and my parents wanted me to be someone, or, society, my friends, like the people I went to school with, or even just the school systems themselves, or, societally, like we're all told we have to be these certain things. We're supposed to, work a 9 to 5. We're supposed to, go to school and learn the same subjects in the same way, when really, like, we're not. Like, we're all very different. We all have different energy. Things work differently for each person. And so human design is honestly about how can we sort of decondition and shed all of that away and be who we truly are. And how we do that is by using our strategy and authority moment to moment, and allowing ourselves to sort of just let go of, what everyone told us to be. And they actually say it takes like 7 years of using your strategy and authority every moment. And I'm going to tell you how to do that, which this is what I love about human design, because there's actually like ways to do this, which I just kind of talked about the two, but then there's something that triggers if we are or we aren't living our design. And so for you, it's called, well, I guess for everyone, it's called your signature sign, and then your not self theme. Your not self theme is frustration. So anytime you're feeling frustrated, that is a telltale sign that you're not living your design. So whenever you're just feeling stuck and just not good, that is a moment that I want you to say, okay, I'm really frustrated right now. Things are not going my way. Let me take inventory. What have I responded to or what have I done that maybe I just wasn't responding to things? Or what have I like said yes to from my emotions? When I wasn't emotionally clear, what was I impulsive about? What was I, what am I doing that I don't really want to do? Essentially, like, what have I responded to that wasn't something that I actually wanted to be a part of? Or maybe I just haven't been tuning into myself as much as I need to. So that's that. Take inventory when you feel frustrated. And then I also want to ask you to take inventory when you feel satisfied. So your signature sign is sort of the telltale sign that says, I am living my design. It's basically the opposite of your not self theme. So not self is when you're triggered that says, I'm not living my design, which is frustration. And then satisfaction is your signature, which is your trigger that says, I am living my design. So if you're feeling very satisfied with whatever's going on in your life, you need to remember to sort of take inventory too. It's kind of important for us to have this, these two, I guess, these things to inventories of what does make us feel really good and what doesn't. So I literally tell everyone, no matter what their sign or their type is, why don't you write down everything that you've done when you're feeling satisfied? What are those things that you've been saying yes to? And then when you're frustrated, do the same thing. What have I been doing that was not aligned with my energy? And then once you have that list, subconsciously, you'll start doing the things that make you feel more satisfied, and then you'll start avoiding the things that make you feel frustrated. And so if you're feeling really good and in your flow, just sort of take inventory and decide, what have I been doing, and how do I keep doing more of that? The next thing in human design, actually, I do want to talk about one thing, and I don't always cover this in my readings, but your definition is very rare. You have quadruple split definition, which means you have like 4 distinct voices inside your system. And quadruple split definition, or I guess just definition in general, is just how your energy charts are sort of like working together. And so where I'm seeing this in your chart is you have your spleen center and your root center connect through the channel 38 to 28, okay? But they don't connect to anything else. You can think of your body graph as energy circuits, and then all of the lines or gates and channels, those are sort of the wires. So a gate is when one just comes off, and then a channel is when it fully connects to another one. So looking down at that bottom, your root center, the one square all the way at the bottom, has the 38, and then it creates a channel because it fully connects to the 28. But then you see like the 57 coming out of the spleen that is just sort of halfway there. It doesn't fully connect to like the 20 or the 10 in that example. And then you also have in the middle, you have your sacral center, which is has a 29, a 3, and a 14. That connects through the 14 through the 2 to your G center, and then your G connects to the 1 to 8 to your throat center, okay? So those are all connected, and they're not connected to anything else. And then you see over on the side, you have your solar plexus, emotional center, connected to your heart center, or also called the ego center. It's a small triangle through the 37 and the 40, but they're not connected to anything else. And then up at the top, you have your ajna and your crown connecting through the 47 and the 64. So what that means is that like you may enjoy being around people probably more than most, because what happens is when we're with 2 people, our charts are sort of overlaid, and your gates and centers will then connect. So for example, let's think of this. So if someone has, looking at your ajna center, which is the second triangle from the top, you have 43 defined coming down at the bottom. And if someone had that 23, that would connect those 2 centers, and then you would have more consistent, easy flow in your chart right there. And maybe they've got, something else that's connecting something else and forming another channel for you. So you may enjoy being around certain people because it helps you just flow together. Now, what's interesting is you also have a lot of definition. So when we have areas that are white in our chart, which most people have undefined centers, not all of them colored, and you're very rare in that sense. And so a lot of times too is we will sort of take in the energy of other people and amplify it. And so we can get caught up in being in our not selves. What I love about your chart is that you don't really get into a not self theme per center as much, because you like know who you are in those spaces and you have energy there. It's very cool to see. I'm really enjoying this about your chart, actually. Now, so that being said, you may enjoy being around people, but you also may have you don't really need anyone because you have consistent energy. No one really adds much to you other than you just all of your energy just flows better together. So your profile is the next thing I want to talk about. And the profile is like the astrology chart. The first number is how you see yourself, and the second number is how other people perceive you. It's made up of 2 numbers. You're 3 5. So the 3 is how you see yourself. The 5 is how other people see you. I resonate with your 5 because I have a 5 in my chart. Nothing for you to do about it. It's good to be aware of. The key to mastering it is by embracing the second number, which is how other people see you. And you want to embrace that because you want to, sometimes people see themselves so much as that first number that they can't tune into that second number, but that's how other people see you, so you kind of have to embrace it. The 3 is a martyr, and the 5 is the heretic. And 3 5s are just such interesting people. So you're called the great life experimenter. You have, for lack of a better example, like an F you, I don't need you attitude. And you're not afraid to call BS on things. And I don't mean like, I have one of my sweetest friends on earth is a 3 5. And I was actually just with her this, over Thanksgiving, and it was just so funny because like she's not like an F you, I don't need you, but like in her head, like she's almost like, I don't need anyone, like I've got it figured out, I've been through it, I've trial and errored. And that's just kind of how it is. Like 3 5s are not afraid to bump into life. They've experienced a lot. And why I say this is because the martyr, the 3 in you, is someone who has just tried a lot, trial and error, has experienced different things, and they're really like, they just sort of like go through it all. The 5 in you is like the hero though. And that is what I was just telling my girlfriend, because she's a social worker, and I'm like, you are such a 5 because like you are the hero. Like everyone just looks to you as like, save the day, Emily, we want you to come, that's my friends do, Emily, like we want you to come in and show us how to do things, and you're just like the person that people want to live through, and you attract people because you're just like so magnetic and relatable. And that's how you are. People see you as this hero and this savior, and they're attracted. They want to know what's happening in your life. Now, you maybe feel probably a little bit messy because you're feeling the 3 a lot, which is messy. It's chaos. It's, okay, I tried this, didn't work. You just go through a lot of life internally. And you probably need encouragement from others sometimes because of that chaotic nature in you. Sometimes the 5 is a very nice marriage, because when people see you as a hero and then call you out on that, it makes you feel really good inside. So I love 3 5s. I think they're some of the most interesting people. And now going back to your chart. So I want to talk about your channels, because you have very interesting, they're all interesting, but I'd like to say that, so for one, you have the 2 to 14 channel, which I share with you. It means you're designed to be a marketer. So it's called the channel of the beat. And everyone who has this channel is just naturally good at marketing, and they have creative energy. That's what grounds you. It's in your earth sign. It's how you communicate. It's also in your Mercury. This is how you sort of get things done. This is very conscious to you. It's all in your black side of your chart, which all of the gates and channels that are in black, those are things that you already know about yourself. They're very conscious. They're very in this personality. And then on the flip side, the red are more like subconscious, but you still may be aware of those. And so what this means is that you're probably really good at marketing. I don't know what you do for work, and I'll ask you when I send this email. You're very good at being a marketer and selling something. You also have the gate 26, and you don't have gate 44. That would make that a full channel. And I'd be so curious to see who you work with, who you're in relationships with that would have gate 44, because that channel creates the channel of surrender, and that channel is like the salesperson, the CEO. So would be curious, like if you had a business partner, that would be a beautiful marriage to have there. You also have the 38 to 28 channel, which would be more of one of your negative ones, which there really is no bad or good or bad in human design, just is what it is. But that's a channel of struggle. You're probably a little bit stubborn. It's a little more subconscious too, because this is all in your red gates. And so you may feel like you're struggling sometimes, or just like you can't like figure it out. And what I would do in that sense is I'd encourage you, just based on your entire chart, is to be around other people, because that'll help you kind of flow through any of that stubbornness. Now, then going back, you have to your other channels, you have the channel of community. That's your 37 to 40, connects your solar plexus to your G center, or not G center, your ego center. Wow, it's been a long week. I'm clearly just all over the place today. But the channel of community is literally what it kind of explains. The channel of community is someone who loves being a part of something. You're actually designed to seek whole, whether that's in like your community, you want to just feel wholesome, probably relationships, you're very like driven to sort of be a part of it. Whatever someone is doing, you want to be a part of that thing. You want to be the part of this bigger picture, and you just love your people. You probably love getting together with friends. You probably love getting together with family. You may enjoy the holidays, honestly, coming up, like just loving being around more people. And then you also have, going up at the top, I'm going to talk about your 1/8 channel in a second, because that one is like the most important one, I would say, in your chart. But going up at the top, you have the channel of abstraction, which connects 47 to 64. And this means that your design of mental activity mixed with clarity. And what I mean by that is you probably think a lot about things, and you will think so hard until you can find clarity on something. Like you will, something comes up, and if you don't feel like you understand it, you will keep like thinking about it until you feel like you gained this clarity about whatever it is. You may sometimes like get frustrated with yourself just by like why you can't understand something if you don't feel like it's been fully transparent. And I can imagine that this is something that you think about a lot as in terms of the future, because it's associated with your north node on both ends of those gates. And then last but certainly not least, the most important thing in your chart is your channel of inspiration, which is the 1 and the 8, connects your G center to your throat. My most favorite channel in anyone's chart ever, I swear, because I have gate 1 in my chart. I don't have the 8, but the 8 is the gate of contribution. And the channel, though, what happens is when you have the 1/8, it's the channel of inspiration, but it means you're designed to be a creative role model. Okay, so I don't know what you do for work, as I said, but you having the channel of the marketer, the beat, and then having the channel of creative expression, inspiration, your creative role model, you're like probably really creative and you love community. So it would make a lot of sense for you to sort of do something that allows you to be creative around community. I can see with you having the being someone who like will think on something until you get clarity. I can see that being a part of your creative process. And then why I think the 1/8 is so important is because the 8 is in your sun, and that is your conscious sun, your personality sun. It's the top square in the black. And gate 8 is, as I mentioned, it's the gate of contribution. You feel like you have to contribute to society by being creative and being this creative role model for others. And so, and I love too that you're 3/5, because you probably just experiment by being creative, and people are like, look at you like, wow, she's just like this, almost like a creative genius in a way, because they're seeing like how well you are doing things, and you've just tried a lot, and then it just seems like you have it all figured out, even though you probably don't feel that way, because you probably feel very chaotic. So those are the main things on your chart that I'm seeing, and those are the things that I love. And you also have obviously tons of gates, and those are all so important, especially because they're not hanging. And hanging gate is when you have an undefined center and a gate hanging out of there, but it doesn't get activated until that center is defined by someone else. Like I said, nothing is happening for you in that sense because you're defined everywhere. So all of this energy is consistent in you. So all of in your chart summary, I have a full section on channels and gates, and all of those are going to be things that you definitely are aware of. You're very open. You love to share your spirit with other people. deep, deep, deep feelings, have a lot of great morals, love patterns. Let's see. Super intuitive, just so creative, truthfully. Don't doubt yourself. You have the gate of doubt, which I know sometimes, like, you kind of realize, and that could be a good thing. Like, you're someone who knows that, like, when it's the end of something, you also know there's a beginning. But just don't have too many doubts. You have such a great chart. I'm dying to meet you. So I don't know if you put on Etsy your Instagram handle, but I'm going to try and follow you if you did, just because I'm so curious who you are. But yeah, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and so glad we got to connect. And if you have any questions at all, please send them my way. Human design is not about me. And I always try and remember to say this to people, like, this is about you. Human design is knowledge for you. And so if there's anything that you would like to, like, you have any questions on, like, I want to make sure that I'm a resource for you, and that we can sort of, you know, bounce ideas off of each other, because, like I said, this isn't about me, and like, I am the one being the medium between human design and you, which I'm so honored to do. And I do feel like there's always a reason why that happens. But if there's anything else that I can help dive a little bit deeper on, let me know. Happy to have you get your money's worth. But all right, thank you so much. Like I said, have a great weekend. I was honored to get to do your chart today, and